Yes, welcome to today's weekly outlook. So, as usual, we look at the possible trading opportunities that are there in the week that we're going to go into. So, this week, gold has actually been having some good moves, and those of us who have been in our group, you are able to capture some trades. So, let's look at gold. The reason why we want to look at gold and also some other commodities is because of the geopolitical factors that are happening, especially in the Middle East, that is between the the Gaza wars, the Israel and Palestinian wars, and how that is affecting some commodities, especially gold. So you realize during times of economic uncertainties, gold tends to go up. And this has not happened once. Each time there is a man-made uncertainty in terms of wars, there is a tendency for gold to move. And then the same thing also when there is a natural disaster, like we had the pandemics. You realize during the pandemic, that was the only time in which actually gold was able to go to all-time highs. So all of these movement, these ones here, they happened during the pandemic where gold went to all-time highs. I mean, these movements here. So what is gold's all-time high now? So gold all-time high, this is what we have. So it is about $2,077.75. The same thing also happened during the Ukrainian war. Gold was able also to go to the previous all-time highs. And now here we have a war happening in Gaza and in the Middle East. So will this also make gold to go to all-time highs? That is what we shall have to see now. Now, why does gold go to all-time highs, or why does it go higher when there is an economic uncertainty? Now, gold is one of those commodities that's regarded as a safe haven. So gold is regarded as a safe haven. Together with the dollar. And also recently we have BTC. And then we can go into the list of other commodities like oil and so on. So usually when there is an economic uncertainty is happening in the world, starting with gold, investors tend to put their money into commodities and gold. But due to the rise of cryptos, there are also other people who tend to look at cryptocurrency as another way of moving money around without any jurisdictional risks. So we'll look at a few commodities, we'll look at Bitcoin, we'll look at gold chart. So as I was explaining to you, during the pandemic, there was a time gold went to all-time highs. During the Russia-Ukrainian conflict, gold went to all-time highs. And now that we have the Gaza situation, there is a possibility of gold also going to all-time highs. But the question is now, will this be is this going to be the natural, or is this going to be the factor that will finally make gold to actually break this highest point it has ever been, in all-time highs? That is what we shall have to do. Because if you look at it from basic technical analysis, is that there's a resistance. So resistance is going to be tested like many times. So it usually breaks. So that's what we shall have to observe. So with that, we need to also understand our support area. So this is our low, which is acting as our support. So now, when we have this, we want to also look at the recent weekly highs. So these are the recent weekly highs. So now this is the scenario we are going to be waiting to happen. And then we also have these weekly highs. And we also have these other highs. So the best time to actually be waiting to trade is what happens. Will these highs continue to be broken and then market retest them to head upward? Don't forget to also mark your lows. So this is our lows. So if gold is to pull back, it will pull back to these lows. And then we can possibly buy. Or if it continues to buy, it will break these highs and then retest them, and then we can be buying. So this is our bias on gold on the weekly time frame. So you need to know exactly how and you're going to trade commodities and things like gold. So you have to understand now, this is not the best time to start selling gold. Even if you see some good technical analysis telling you to sell, you will have to sell it cautiously, because gold is one of those precious metal that is very predictable. So you can look at gold, silver, and other metals and see how they are going to perform. So our case study is just gold. So that's what we have on gold. Maybe let's go to Bitcoin. So we're going to just focus on this now, BTCUSD. So will this Bitcoin be able to also react based on the economic situations that are happening? All right. So you'll also realize that during the pandemic, the Bitcoin was able to shoot up. Why was Bitcoin actually able to shoot up during the pandemic? You realize that during the pandemic, many people also decided to invest in Bitcoin, and also things to do with the stimulus check, which was being given to many people. Most people use their money to actually enter the crypto market. So now during this time, we also need to understand how gold is going to react. Will gold actually change sentiment? Will it be bearish? So that's what we shall have to see. So if you look at this, let's mark our lows. This has been the previous lows or the highs which have been broken into support and resistance. So that's the common support areas we have. And then we are also coming up here. This is our highs. So we have our highs there. And then this is the week. If you've been following our analysis, you realize that we have been actually marking our weekly highs, hoping for price to be able to rise. So those are the areas we had, and now we have these weekly lows. So what we want to see is actually that possibility of the market being able to come to these support areas and then possibly give us the next rally to the upside. Or if there is a sudden change and then we have these resistances being broken, then we can actually begin to head up. Okay, we can begin to head up if we see a strong break in that. Otherwise, we want to wait for price to be able to come to these lows and then we can buy. But still, if they are broken, then there is no problem. So this is what we have with Bitcoin again on the weekly chart. So you just need to understand what is happening economically in the economic space and then trade it well. So let's go to one more commodity, which is the US oil. So you realize during such issues also, the production of oil, especially oil producing countries, as long as they're not affected, then it's okay. But still, the demand for oil will increase. Okay, so let's go to our weekly chart. Let me remove this analysis. So on the weekly chart, you're beginning to see we have our weekly highs here, where the market had gone and then reacted from there. And then let's begin to mark our weekly lows. So we had also an area of resistance here, which was broken. So we had this high resistance, and then now price is bouncing off here. So the next thing we want to see is the break of these lows and price headed up. So once this is broken, then we realize that there is going to be some serious bullishness to oil, and then maybe we can begin to see the possibility of coming to all-time highs. So this is what we have on oil. The only thing which can stop us is when we have this break. There's a breakdown into these other areas, then we can begin to change our mindset and see how we can possibly look for this. But just looking at technicals, combining it with the little economic policies and fundamental things that are happening, you realize commodity is just going to go up. So we have wait for break of this, and then we can continue to scale in for the buys. So that's what we have on a few commodities. It's also important to look at some currency pairs. Okay, let's just pick the DXY to be able to determine the direction of the dollar. So the DXY, let's look at the DXY and see how that is affecting the dollar and determining how the dollar. So if you watched our previous chart, you realize we had marked this as our This was our resistance, which is being broken. And exactly like we had said, it will be a retest to this for market to be able to push up, because we are seeing market leaving these support areas and it is not looking like it will come back. And here we have our weekly highs. We'll wait to see whether there will be a break of this weekly high for market to be able to continue all the way to these lows before it can actually head down and also break these other more resistances that are along the way. So that's what we see. So this structure here is looking very, very bullish for the dollar. So you will just need to know also, dollar is another currency that is regarded as a safe haven too. So many people actually also go and buy the dollar, so increasing the demand for the dollar during such times. And also because of the recent pumps that have been put into the dollar, and the time in which all these economic data like unemployment, non-farm payroll have been positive for the dollar. So the things to do with Brexit, the effects of Brexit still very low in terms of overthrowing the dollar. So it's a long thing. So for now, the dollar is actually looking good and looking strong. So you need to be able to trade cautiously. And then finally, the other pair that is so good to look at during these such economic times is the Swiss pair. If you've been following these videos from the very beginning, you will understand exactly our understanding of the Swiss pairs. So Switzerland is one of those countries with the best economic policies, the highest in technology and innovation, a country with a neutral stance in terms of foreign affairs. And then also when you look at the quality of life, the political index, it is all up high there. Okay, so it is one of those countries also whereby when there is a lot of economic uncertainties, their currency actually tends to also be strong. So let's look at the Swiss, one of the Swiss pairs. Okay, so let's go with the New Zealand CHF. So you need to be able to understand the New Zealand CHF. Now, for those of us who are in the group, we know exactly how we've been killing it. We know what is happening there, and we've been trading and making some good profits on the pair. Okay, so let me look CHF. So let me go with Pepperstone. So looking at it again from the weekly, you realize in the last weeks, the New Zealand had been weak a little bit. But now all of a sudden there is that shift, that sudden shift. So these were our weekly highs. We had our support area here. This is our lows, and then the market goes into these areas, and all of a sudden we see that sudden strength in the Swiss pair. So all of this, we had this weekly break. So you can see the Swiss is also strengthening. So the only way I'm expecting this to come all the way and actually form a new low, just like all these other lows. So a new low to be formed. So the Swiss is looking very strong also because it's another safe haven currency. So with that being said, this is what we have for the week. You just need to know how to interpret geopolitical events and be able to maximize them, to be able to trade currencies, to be able to trade currencies like we have the Swiss pairs. We have a perfect understanding of it, and then the dollar through understanding the DXY. Then you can also use this to be able to understand emerging markets like cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and then also other things to do with commodities. So commodities tend to rise. So this is a very exciting and a good time to trade. Okay, so that's one of the things we just really need to know, that if you cannot participate in the war in terms of praying for peace, in terms of praying for the people that are fighting, that also hostility ceases, and then also you are not supporting them by giving them any reliefs and all food, then you have all the right to take advantage of the market. So you can take advantage of the market to your own good and make some money. If you can't fight the war and you can't pray for peace, you make money. All right, so that's what we have. Take care. Have a good day.